Hello and welcome to About 6 Acres. I'm Juana.
And I'm Nick.
And we're in the kitchen today.
Yeah, because it is raining. It's supposed to rain all day.
Yeah, it sounds heavy, they say, but basically it means that all of the projects that we had left for the weekend, we can't do. Because they were all outside projects.
So now we gotta do stuff inside.
Our geese are laying, and we have a lot of eggs. And they're not as easy to use. Like, we wouldn't necessarily eat them for breakfast. You can, but it's not something that we've been doing regularly because our chickens are laying.
Yeah, and also our ducks. So we got eggs coming out of every
Direction.
direction. I was gonna say orifice, but
If you've never seen a goose egg before, they are incredible. This is what they look like.
so we have one goose that is laying sort of a more longer one than the other, and one a lot cleaner than the other.
So this is Juliet. Juliet's the one that's more tan, if you've ever seen our Sevastopol geese. And so she lays outside and she hangs out a lot with the boys. So she's a little bit of a messy one. And we have Mira, who's quite a bit of a clean one.
Yeah, and she likes to go off by herself to lay the eggs and doesn't want anyone to bother her. So
Yeah, she lays inside the little A-frame with some straw, and she's just a neat freak.
But it's cool because they'll make their nest, but then when they lay the egg and get up, they cover it where they were sitting with some straw. So it's pretty cool. Pretty smart.
You have to kind of go looking for them. But these were the ones that they laid today. And again, they're both the same age. They just lay a little bit of a different size. And our goal is we've been incubating chicken eggs. They're all hatching between yesterday and today. So our hope is that we'll be able to clear out the incubator and set some of these in. We don't have a lot of high hopes because we haven't really seen them mating much.
Yeah,
we have, but not much.
During the day, they're out doing their thing. So we know something's going on at night because they're knocking over pails and food bins. So
it's a party zone.
Yeah, crazy partiers.
Yeah. So hopefully some of them will be fertile, but we'll find out. And that's a story for another video. We're going to be making some pasta because our goal is to be able to use up some of these eggs, be able to make enough pasta to have some to freeze so that we can use it easily during the week. And fresh pasta is awesome because even after you freeze it, you're basically just adding a minute to the cook time. And the cook time for fresh pasta is like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's literally a 3-minute process. Let's get started. The egg is just incredible. First, the shell is really hard, but then what is striking is the color of the egg white, so the albumin. Let's see.
Oh, that's a big old...
Right? A giant yolk? Yeah. And so one of the things you'll notice, and I don't know if it's so clear if you don't have what to compare it with, but the egg white is extremely thick, almost like a gelatinous type look to it. It's translucent, so very different than like the yellowish, milkyish color of an egg, like a chicken egg. And then the yolk, of course, is massive and nice and orange. So this is going to be perfect for pasta. Definitely going to flour our surface just so that nothing sticks. And then handy. We're just gonna start kneading. A good 10 minutes worth. And if you start to feel like it is getting like too dry, you can always add water. I like to do like a teaspoon at a time, and you want to do cold water. But it's not necessary. I think this is actually turning out to be good, but remember that the absorption of water for the flour really does depend on the humidity in your home and the type of flour that you use. So this is all-purpose flour, and I don't think that we're going to need more water.
It's 100% humidity outside.
I love this color though. Isn't that a cool color? We've been kneading for about 10 minutes. This one needs a little bit more time. I think that the difference in size of the goose egg really did make an impact. And so I just have to work a little bit more with that one. This one is all nice and smooth into a ball. We're gonna go ahead and put it in the Ziploc bag and let it sit there for about 20 minutes just resting.
So we have our hand cranked pasta maker attached to our counter. This first part basically will help combine the sheet of pasta. So we'll have the ball, but we'll cut into little sections that we can do. And this will basically turn that sheet of pasta into the thickness we want. So we have a dial on this side that we'll dial in. Eventually we'll dial to a thickness where we want like a thin noodle. So that's between like a 6 and a 9, almost like a parpadelle. I don't know how to say it, but thin noodle. So we'll go through like the 0 setting, then we'll bump it up to like a 4, and then bump it up to 6, and then I'll just make that piece of dough longer and thinner. And then we take our handle out, and there's 2 cutting options on here. One for like a broad noodle, and then one for like a spaghetti or angel hair pasta. And so when we get our sheets measured out to the right size, then we'll put it onto the cutter onto the back, crank it out, take our pieces out, and then we use our little bins to hang over the pasta to dry out until we're ready to cook. So now we're just waiting for the pasta to settle and set for a little bit before I cut them into the little balls and get ready to make some pasta. Need to have a floured surface because again, we're going to cut them and then take them into the thin strips, place them down again, and then make sure that the surface of the dough is always floured, because when it goes through here, it'll go through nice and clean and not stick to cutting pieces or the roller when it's nice and floured. So get a little flour on there, and then we'll cut into smaller pieces, probably like six pieces. We'll see. Yeah, maybe a little bit more. I'll just take those and put them into a little ball and then get set to the side until we're ready to flatten them out. I'll take our first ball and sort of flatten it out a little bit because I'm going to feed it through the sheet press, and it basically just rolls it out. Nice and flat, get a little more flour on there. Do it several times through, and that also helps incorporate, get any bubbles out. So we'll do a few at the small setting, and then we'll bump it up, and that way we'll do everything together. And so we'll lay out a few of these sheets at one size, and then we'll come back and do the next size. So I got 3 sectioned out. I'm gonna bump it to a 7. So this is gonna move the rollers together and give us a thinner sheet that we're gonna work with. And then make sure to flour it. Makes that sheet super long. I'll just drape it over the back, right at the front. And I'll probably cut this sheet in half before we actually cut the type of noodle we want. And that way I have space to work with.
Nick is basically going to continue to do that several times, and then we'll come back when he's ready to cut to the pasta size that we want. And so now he's running them through the cutter. And so I think he's doing the parpadelli. Is it parpadelli,
Yeah.
Nick?
According to the manual.
Yeah.
Just have them thin. As thin as you want.
And so we don't have a place to lay them out on, so we basically just use our Cambros, and that's what we put them on right here so that they can dry off a little bit before we're ready to cook them. But right now he's working on the first ball, so this is going to take a little bit of time. Nick finished the first ball of dough. It looks fantastic. So at this point, I'm going to let them sit for a little bit, and then I'm going to take portions of them, make almost like a little nest out of them, put it on the tray, and then flash freeze them. And that's the batch that is going to go into the freezer. My nests are not as neat as they probably could be, but these are going to be going into the freezer to be flash frozen. And then we will put them in a Ziploc bag, a freezer safe bag. So for now, they're just going in here to be frozen. Felt like the pasta was really good.
Yeah, it was good. It was nice and light, but it took forever to make.
It does take a while, but pasta as a whole takes a little bit of time to make. Just the rolling and the cutting of it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we had like a KitchenAid one, if that would have made life simpler, or if the one we have is the same and it is what it is.
I'm just thinking about the Play-Doh machine that you can stick the mass of Play-Doh in and just press the button and it get squirted out. You got spaghetti.
I think that's how the KitchenAid one works.
I don't know.
I don't know. Let us know if you own one of them.
Or if you have a grandmother that you want to send over here and that likes to cook pasta, and maybe we'll pay her to make pasta.
The Nona.
The Nona.
Yes. But in the meantime, we're actually enjoying making them, and it's a great use of goose egg because we don't get a lot. Like for the year, we might end up getting 30 for each girl, maybe. And so it's not that many. And I know that there's a portion of them that we want to incubate. So we need to find a good use for them. And I think this is a good way to enjoy them longer than, like beyond when they stop laying. So we did freeze one batch, and I'll just show you what it looked like. And we already have it in the freezer. And so I'm just getting ready to freeze this batch. And what's nice about it is they're these little batches. And if we're hungry one day, you take 1 or 2, boil it. Or if you want to make a meal out of it, you just take the whole bag. Because I think this is...
fry them and toss them in cinnamon and sugar.
Now you're talking my language.
Then you have like, what is that thing called?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Almost like a funnel cake
No, I
type.
forgot what it's called. There is a name for it. You might be onto something, Nick.
Just because you know we like sweet stuff.
So we're going to research that. And for now, we're just so grateful to have something else that we can add to the kitchen that came from our homestead.
Yeah, and I'm gonna ask if anyone has a tip that they use if you have goose eggs, the best way to crack those goose eggs without like a hammer, that would be great. Let us
So
know.
that they're usable, you know, without the shell. But thank you so much for watching.
And as always, you're awesome and you're loved.
Until next time.